Good evening, ladies, gentlemen, friends, family, and special guests, and welcome to Harvesting Learning, episode 6 of Why Agriculture Isn't Boring. My name is AgriTech, and I will be your host tonight, and I'm joined with the
Maximum Potato.
And tonight's presentation is brought to you by the AgriTech module, where we learn about innovation and sustainability and how these work together to form the future of agriculture in Vietnam. So first, Max, can you tell me a bit about the title of our podcast series? Why is agriculture not boring?
So regarding that, I'd like to say something to you. Why would agriculture be boring? At the end of the day, agriculture is food, and everyone loves food. Some people more than others, right, Sandy? But yeah, at the end of the day, all of what we eat comes from agriculture. And I've tried a lot this term, such as rats, mushrooms, frogs, fermented eggs, so much I can't even keep remembering.
But there's one person who is a bit of an expert on food. From somewhere in the crowd, the one, the only, Broccolium.
Hello. All right. Hey, everyone.
Welcome, Liam. It's a pleasure to have you with us tonight.
Thank you. Always, always.
Would you like to start talking a little bit about our summatives for this module?
Yeah. There's one thing that I really wanted to get off my chest is that the world is filled with opportunities. And during our module, we decided to grab one, seize an opportunity, and hold on so tight and not let go. We decided to dive and dig into podcast creation, where we cultivated immense amounts of knowledge, harvested so much understanding on agriculture, and combined it into a series of podcast episodes that consisted of sustainability, the past of agriculture, the future of agriculture, my episode, which is the supply chain, and the social economics of the agriculture business. One of the major key aspects of our module summative was collaboration. Although sometimes we had disagreements, even though sometimes we left our separate ways, with mature comprehension, understanding of other people's perspectives, and acceptance of who people were, we were able to create this podcast with love and made it exactly what we imagined for this module.
Wow, thank you. That's such wonderful insight into the minds of the AgriTech students. Maximo, your episode was on one of our key themes, sustainability. Would you like to share a bit about that?
Yeah, so my episode's episode number 4 with the title of Attainable Sauce, in which we focus by comprehending what sustainability actually meant and how it impacted agriculture and agriculture impacted sustainability. Then we focused a bit on the issues and the challenges that are being faced not only in Vietnam but also in the whole world. And for example, to give a brief introduction, we focus on soil degradation, in which it consists on the amount of chemicals being used and how it ruins the quality and pH of the soil. And we went to many different farms in which they touched on it, but one of the ones that gave us the most insight was in the Mekong Delta, in which they explained how you can use natural components to substitute these chemicals, and at the same time that using chemicals is not necessarily wrong as long as it's controlled and you can do it positively.
Yeah, thank you. They're very important points, very relevant to agriculture. Liam, our expert here on food, can you tell us a bit about the supply chain and your episode?
Of course. So my episode was about the supply chain. And my episode was called Big Bags Vietnam. So a collection of countries that myself and Sandy, my partner in the podcast, we explore all the countries and we eat all of the cultural foods from that country. And our main question when we start off our podcast is, how does food get from the farms all the way to your stomachs? You know, you don't know the processes. You don't know where it goes through. You don't know the business behind it, the financing behind it, the hard work behind it. Well, we got to see that, especially in the southern regions of Vietnam, in Can Tho, next to the Mekong Delta. We were able to discover so much different forms of agriculture and so much different produce, like rats, frogs, fermented 6-month-old egg, milk apple. I don't even know what that is yet, because if I had the answer to that question, I would have given it to you guys. It was a great experience. I was able to create a mukbang inside of my podcast, which is too much information on what I'm chewing very close to a microphone. And I was able to explore what organizations helped in the process of the supply chain, such as VietGap, OCOP, and I was so lucky I was able to see a GMO, which is a genetically modified organism, where a milk apple tree was able to produce milk apples naturally that were sweeter, more plump, and have a better flavor. I got to eat so much, and I'm really grateful for that.
As you mentioned before, collaboration was a very important part of our module. So I'm curious about getting some audience participation, some collaboration going. I'm wondering if you two, our lovely guests, have any questions for the audience. Liam?
Yeah, as a big back, I like eating everything. But the only thing that's stopping me is I don't know what everything is. So I'd like to know from the audience, what is something crazy that I can eat? So my question to all of you guys is, what is the craziest thing you've ever eaten?
And we're going to ask Shasta.
So thank you so much for asking. The craziest thing I've ever eaten was the poison fugu fish in Hokkaido, Japan.
Wow, I've never heard of that.
Sounds like a delightful meal.
It does. I'm sure you'd enjoy that. Max, do you have a question relating to your episode?
Yeah, indeed I do. Touching with sustainability and the planet, and agriculture itself too. I'm just wondering what our crowd thinks that what aspects of agriculture are harmful to the environment.
Yeah, and I'm wondering what Huxley thinks.
I think the most harmful aspects environmentally to agriculture are probably the deforestation that's required for the land and also for all of the livestock.
Thank you, Huxley, for your answer. Well, I am a little bit conscious of time. It is seeming like we should cut to our commercial break. So be sure to join us for the second half of this episode in our module booth. And yeah, we'll cut to a commercial.
Thank you so much.
Blooming Tunes, the flowering karaoke machine where you can sing until your lungs explode and your throat goes numb. Try it out now.